Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan back in the video, and Batwoman is finally back, and of course things have gotten a little sideways in the world, as you might have, noticed. So society is under lockdown, and production on television and movies is ground to a halt, putting many shows on hiatus, including Batwoman, which finally made its return this week, and it was a relatively quiet episode, too. Even while it dealt with a bad guy intent on blowing up Gotham, ultimately it asked one important question: what makes a hero? So, just a quick warning, this video does contain spoilers for Batwoman Season 1, Episode 17, A Narrow Escape. So, when it comes down to it, the entire first season of Batwoman has been about that very question. What about Kate makes her a hero, and why was she worthy of being a paragon during the Crisis crossover event? So, perhaps really, what about her makes her think she is good enough to follow in the footsteps of a hero like Batman? Episode after episode, Kate has struggled with her insecurities, slowly finding her way as her own hero, rather than just a new version of Batman. And she makes choices Bruce never had to or never would, and she does things with her own flair and sense of purpose and morality. So this week, her morality and purpose are at odds as she continues to struggle with her actions in killing Cartwright 2 episodes ago. And last time, she made amends by putting her sister in prison, which I actually kind of forgot about because it's been so long since we've seen this show. But now her own fear and trauma are keeping her from putting on the suit at all. So she's taken a full week off from being Batwoman, and the villains are starting to run loose, and now a man called the Detonator is back in town after a 7-year hiatus, and he's testing people throughout Gotham to see who really is a superhero. No, I mean, not superhero, just hero, and who is a coward. So, how does the test work? He straps a victim to a bomb and tells them they can either allow the timer to tick down and die and, get blown up, or press a button and destroy a building, leaving them to be alive and live. So his first victim, a GCPD officer, chooses to save his own life at the expense of others. The second victim, thankfully, is not so quick to press that button, allowing the crows to sweep in and start evacuating the area wired to explode. Kate notices, however, that the building they're clearing is the same one that houses a certain underground clinic run by a certain medical student, so that's bad news. But still too afraid to don her suit, despite the fact that it can sustain the explosion without killing her, Kate heads down to the clinic to rescue her sister just moments too late. And the crows clear the building, or they think they have, and hit the button, bringing it down around them. But Mary is no idiot, though. She knew the building was being evacuated and did her best to get everyone out of the clinic before it blew. But Mary is also a hero in her own right and knew that there were some patients that were unable to evacuate, so she stayed behind to protect them, which is why, covered by mattresses, she and the others survived long enough for Kate to arrive. And there are other big moments in this episode which perhaps mark it better. But this one, in Mary's clinic, as she and Kate attempt to rescue the remaining patients, is the one which sums up so much about what this show tells us about heroism. Among the victims of the explosion is a young woman in a Batwoman suit, who throughout the beginning of the episode was trying to keep hope alive while the Genuine article is out of commission. So the sight of seeing someone in that suit really hurt her and sends Kate into a panic, but Mary isn't about to let her sister off the hook. So she follows Kate into the hallway and finally reveals that she knows Kate is Batwoman, because of course, she is. And everything Mary knows about Kate, about her bravery and her recklessness, matches perfectly with the person Batwoman has shown herself to be. No one else could wear that suit or inspire a city to the way that she does. And when Kate says that she isn't a hero, Mary shuts her down with one of the best lines of the episode. Gotham doesn't need her to be a hero. It just needs her to keep going. And isn't that at the core of what it means to be a hero? I mean, it's not just about putting on a suit and fighting bad guys. It's not just about having the courage to go into the exploding building. It's about having the courage to get back up when it knocks you on your ass. To go back in again and again, even when you have nothing to gain from it. And it's not about being so good and so pure that you never kill. It's about not letting one mistake control you or change you into villain, or worse, allowing your fear of what you might become drive you away from your higher purpose. So Kate is a hero because, with some light prodding, she does eventually put the suit back on. Because Batwoman isn't just the hero Gotham needs, but the one Kate needs to be. And, it's a good thing too, because the detonator has one more victim planned, Jacob Kane. And turns out the detonator is actually a crow, but not just any crow, but the crow who staged Lucius Fox's murder. So Sophie, Julia, and Luke figure it out together, just in time to tell Batwoman who hunts him down. Wayne Tower, of course, is the building set to explode next, and Luke has decided to trap himself and Kate with the detonator and his explosive in a fortified room. No one else will die but them, and Luke wants a confession from the detonator that murdered his father. And he actually ends up getting it, and turns out Lucius wasn't supposed to die, but he refused to hand over a notebook full of Wayne Tech plans, and when his son was threatened, Lucius rushed the person threatening him and was shot and killed, and his murder framed on a local criminal. So the detonator wasn't even in charge of the operation. He was working for Tommy Elliot, but who's otherwise known as Hush, is now actually locked up in prison, Arkham Asylum to be specific. And so now that the confession has been obtained, Luke is very happy to let his father's killer die in his own explosion. But Kate eventually convinces him not to become a killer too, and that's where she confesses her own crime to Luke, and together they end up saving him and themselves just as the bomb goes off. So at the end of the episode, when they go into more detail of Kate telling Luke about Cartwright and all that stuff, that's where we find out that throughout this whole series, Kate is trying to be like Batman, and she thinks that she's let down Bruce because she killed someone. But this is where Luke tells us that, basically he says that Batman, Bruce Wayne, killed the Joker, and so maybe that is why Bruce left Gotham and Batman disappeared, because Luke specifically said it's no coincidence that the Joker hasn't been running around Gotham for the past 5 years, and it's not like he's locked up in Arkham. So Bruce stared into that abyss, and he crossed the line as well. And it drove him into madness, and that's why he left Gotham. And now we're just hoping that this doesn't happen to Kate, and hopefully she can get over it, unlike he did. But back to the rest of the episode. So the career of the detonator is now ended, but Tommy Elliot is still around, and he obviously has a larger vendetta. So Alice and Mouse are also locked up in Arkham and spend this week clashing with Tommy as Alice attempts to plot her escape, or rather, her takeover. So Alice and Tommy teaming up in some regard would actually be pretty brilliant, even if it isn't likely to happen very soon, because both of them are mirrors of Kate in some regard, her twin sister and another who lives in Batman's shadow. And she could have become either of them, and this first season is about proving what makes her different from the villains that she has to face. And we don't know yet exactly how many episodes we will be getting this season, but at least we're in a place now where things are beginning to feel somewhat finished. I mean, Mary is now finally on the team, kinda. Sophie and Julia are teaming up now to start a new task force, and I'm kind of confused about the whole romantic part there, because I'm pretty sure Julia is going to have some kind of romance with one of the characters, but is it going to be Kate, or is it going to be Sophie? Because at the end of the last episode, Sophie and Kate, I mean, they made out, so you'd think it'd be them, but throughout this whole episode, Sophie and Julia spent the whole time together, and they made a great team, and they weren't necessarily flirty, but they just seemed like a couple throughout the whole episode. So I'm interested to see if they're going to end up together, if it's going to be another love triangle or something. But Alice and Mouse have more or less taken over Arkham Asylum, and now they're plotting their revenge under the guise of safety, because Mouse actually killed the Dr. Butler, I think that's what his name was, the doctor that was torturing them. He killed him, and then Alice somehow made the mask face thing, and now Mouse looks like Dr. Butler. So that's how they're going to take over Arkham, because you have Dr. Butler, which is really Mouse, and then Alice, plus they're working with Tommy. So maybe Alice isn't really the main villain of this season. I mean, maybe it's actually Tommy Elliot. I didn't really even expect to see him return in this episode. I thought he was just going to be a one-off villain, and he was just going to be in that one episode back at the beginning of the season. But now he's returned for a much bigger role. And speaking of surprise returns, we also see Magpie there in Arkham Asylum, and she's actually going to be in the next episode, so look forward for that. But yeah, I feel that like everything here is really starting to wrap up. Everything is getting into place. All the puzzle pieces are coming together to, form the puzzle. And everything is in a place where we can see this story moving into season 2. I mean, you have bad guys on the horizon and new challenges ahead for the team, and the team is like pretty much back together. Kate is starting to get over the whole Cartwright thing, and yeah, so like I said, I don't know how many episodes there's gonna be of this still left, but I don't think it's gonna be very many, because I don't know what else you could really do with this story unless they really wrap up Alice's story and actually have her like either killed or permanently captured, for good. But we'll have to wait and see as the season wraps up here. So please let me know your thoughts on this episode down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video, so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.